waffling and complaining, he is a coach killer. And if you fly, you should get a technical foul. And if you fly, you should be fined millions of gold. And if you fly, you should be suspended from the game.
Hello, family.
Hello again.
And welcome to
Zone
night
Heads.
3
What's going on?
of our Game of Zones The Watch, where tonight we're going to be watching Game of Zones Season 5, which may be my favorite, has some of my favorite episodes in it tonight. So we're excited to dive in. We're going to watch the episodes with you, and then we're going to answer some questions between them. I'm Adam.
I'm Craig. We're also going to have a clip of a deleted scene from the season at the end, so stay tuned for that because it's a pretty good one. Don't you agree, Adam?
It's not really a deleted scene. It's a scene we couldn't use because the playoffs didn't work out that way. But I think we were gonna do it if the playoffs worked out that way. So do you want to? I guess one thing we'll answer right before we start is we always get the question of why is Game of Zones ending? And a lot of people think Bleacher Report canceled the show. That's not the case. Bleacher Report did not cancel the show. It's more that Craig and I have done 7 seasons of this now, and it's near and dear to our heart. But we made every medieval basketball joke we can make for right now, and we want to try some new things creatively. But who knows? Maybe in the future we can come back and pick it up again.
One other thing I want to add is that we're going to be talking over the episodes. So if that bugs you, you are free to watch the episodes on YouTube in their natural habitat. But we're going to be annoying and talking over all these episodes. So just be prepared for that.
Yes.
So this next episode, or this first episode we're going to show you, is called Kyrie's Farewell, I believe, or at least that's the working title that we were using. It's what one YouTuber described as the best and deepest Game of Zones ever made, bruh. That's a quote straight from YouTube comment section. And I think we should just roll the table unless there's anything else, Adam, that...
This came out All-Star Weekend of whatever season this was. I don't know. 20 something. Season 5.
It's the 70th NBA season. There's our disclaimer that we always put at the beginning.
Yeah, none of this is based on any real people. Even though people may look like real NBA players, none of them are. They're all just made up characters.
Yeah. There's
Kevin Love still looking sick.
Yeah, a lot of references here. There's Lil Kev here. And this is a little Portrait that Richard Jefferson and Channing Tatum, Channing Frye would carry around and bug.
It was on the
bug Kevin.
It was on the set of Magic Mike that Kevin Love was there.
So yeah, the Cavs just lost the Warriors.
And this is the big news of the summer. Big news of the summer, free agency wise, was I guess it was Kevin Durant. That was the year before. Sorry, this was Kyrie going to the old Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and this is the bronze foot statue.
I love their little river dance. They go by like this.
Oh yeah, that's because we didn't want to draw them sideways, so we just had them walk like side shuffle.
Our differences.
Those are the henchmen.
Is that we're very much the same. Many men
That's right.
This is a callback to last season.
Only to obscure a deeper desire. To
Melo on his way to Oklahoma City.
This chapter comes to a close.
We gave Paul George a golden leg after his leg injury, like Jamie Lannister's golden hand.
I may find that I was mistaken. That I needed you all along.
And this is a background that we would use later for the raid in Stables Castle.
And so I've set sail for the edge of the world. But if I find that this world is indeed round, then maybe one day my journey will lead me back to you. In my stead awaits another.
Remember the Arthur meme?
Thought it was gonna
fist me?
Last year.
Oh, right, yeah.
Has been granted.
Yeah, that was popular then.
It's hard to remember memes these days. There's so many.
Yeah. Back when
Also,
I
it
was
was
a kid,
big deal
memes,
then
you know.
that they got Isaiah Thomas. Turned out not to be a huge deal.
Yeah.
So we'll tell you a little
King
anecdote
James
about this
is late to his
part
own meeting.
afterwards.
Doesn't bode well for us getting out of this.
Just say we had to deal with the fact that LeBron traded his whole team
Kevin. Am I right?
before this episode came out.
Freaking Kevin.
What is that? That's odd. Some sort of pregnant raven. Oh
And LeBron goes full Cersei here. He was once Jamie, then he became
Never go
Jorah
full
Mormont,
Cersei.
and he went full Cersei. He's a
All right,
he's
so
a
let's stop
character
it
that
there real
evolves.
quick. So, so the thing with that episode at the end there was that was coming out of the All-Star break, and I believe it was right before that episode was about to come out that like LeBron traded like half that team, and we were like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, what do we do?"
It was like literally.
We
Yeah, sorry, it was like a 7 days, maybe 10 days ahead of this episode coming out, and it was like the worst thing that could possibly happen to an animated show that's based on live, like real news. Anyway, you want to tell the story?
But basically, we decided the best thing to do was to just blow it up with a Woj bomb and do and spoof that scene with Cersei, where, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen, where she blows some stuff up. And it turned out to be good. So we were happy with it, and it actually looks really good, the special effects and everything.
We got pretty lucky that we had that kind of the ace up our sleeve of when in doubt, just blow everything up, because that was a gift that
That's what LeBron did. He blew it up. So this
also,
next
Adam,
scene that we're going to watch. Is there something else for this one?
Do you remember the IT baby story that you wanted?
We were going to do it that like the explosion was so big that like IT flew all the way to LA and landed on the doorstep of Magic Johnson, and he saw like IT as like a little baby on his doorstep, and he picked him up like a baby he was going to bring into his humble Lakers house. So this next episode, a lot of you may not have seen it because it was actually half of it. This net scene was only on the app. It was app exclusive. And it was split up. It was initially going to be part of one big episode, but we decided to put half of it to be an app exclusive. And now we're putting it back together. You can see it if you watch the full string out. It's attached to episode 1. But we'll go ahead and listen to anything you want to say, Craig, and play this episode that you may not have seen. Bring out your busts.
Bring out your busts. Bring out your busts. We'll take your whiff draft picks and bloated contracts. We'll pay heaps of gold on the back end for your mediocre youngsters. Bugger off, poacher. Bring out your busts. Yeah, you can have them after all. Hey, there he is, the Knight of Crabs. You should have been here all along, eh? There you go for your troubles. Oh, gross. All right, off we go, Alan. Welcome home. Bring out
Giant
your
Mozgov.
busts. We'll take your busts for a small fee. Ah, Sir Lowry. I'd love to see you in a net tunic.
Not me. Him.
Ah, the horse who does horse things.
No, the guy on the horse.
Forgot the horse things
Sir
was in this
Deborah
scene.
Carroll. Oh boy, that contract's a doozy. Afraid I'm gonna need a couple draft picks to take him on.
Fine.
So this is based on a Monty Python scene,
I
which is
know,
Bring
I'll
Out
get
Your
it.
Dead.
Series with an unblemished record, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, you should watch that and then watch this
Bring
scene.
out your boss, your bloated contracts. Ah, Brian Longcollars. Two for me, eh?
Brian Longcollar's before his collars got really
I'm
long.
not a boss.
He said
Yeah.
he was a boss.
Oh, he's a bust, all right. So you're just gonna send me off to Brooklyn, just like that?
His collars
Also
grow.
notice-
It'll be a fresh start.
Right, well, why not Bostonia?
Look, Julia, I've tried. Everywhere.
Masters of Trade pin.
Well, I've just been in a bad
That was a new
situation.
innovation this season.
Beat out of Rashawn Hall.
Well, maybe
Right.
if I had some veteran leadership or some archers to space the field,
He's got a point there.
I'd roll
Not
out
a
of
master.
bed.
It was a
The only
lord.
thing you get out of bed for
Lord
is a
of-
cheese stick.
No, it's the Master
Hand
of
of-
Trade.
Best shape of me
It's
life.
the
Oh, right,
head of the
yeah,
Kingpin,
Jaw.
but for Masters
yeah,
of
yeah,
Trade,
yeah.
Defense. Look at my defense.
which are GMs.
Yeah.
Look, can you please take this guy? The scribes are killing me. I'll throw in a second round.
Still
I'll
missed
take
out referred to this
anything in
day
return.
on the Sixers.
How about this guy? He's good on D and has 18 businesses.
Fun fact: Trevor Booker does have 18 businesses. Might even have 19 or 20 now,
Fine.
for all I know.
Deal. Done.
All right, enjoy Trevor Booker. Bring out your
Might have no
busts.
businesses.
Bring out your busts. We'll
So
take
we
the
rise
draft
from
picks
From
and
the
Transition.
depths of the Nets and their problems to the highest of the highs this season, House Golden State.
This portrait, or this painting, I don't even know what to call it, the Sistine Chapel parody. It's one of my favorite pieces of Game of
I'm
Thrones art.
painting the rat tail on JaVale McGee.
Going off his numbers from last year, you could make the case he's become one of the best shooters in the realm. You can never have too much shooting, Steph. Clay, your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's unsafe, a bit shaky.
This was the year
Remember-
of Clay Thompson
Look, Amanda.
talking about scaffolding on the local
Raven
news in
Just came in.
San Francisco. If you haven't seen that, you should look that up. It's amazing.
For Dwight Howard.
It's like a trip
Good
down
for them.
Memory
Nothing to concern
Lane.
ourselves with. Thank you, Patrick. Let us know if you hear of anything else.
Love it.
Hi, Lord Commander.
Swaggy has his moments, but all too often
Might be a
plays
thing
the
already.
fool.
They said the same of JaVale, but I'd say he's worked out quite nicely.
I worry.
It really is, like,
how
we are
many of these
doing
jester types
A
can be
service of
absorbed.
documenting all the memes
Commander.
in
Yes, Patrick.
cartoon form
He's crossed
for
the
our
sea.
generations to
Basketball
come.
memes.
Furkan.
Basketball memes, yeah.
Furkan Korkmaz.
Patrick.
They say he might make the Sixers active roster.
Okay, Patrick. Maybe just notify us if any big names change houses. Understood?
Right. Big names. Got it.
So there's an interesting
Awful
tidbit
one,
about
Nick's
this
presence will
episode.
help.
By the way, I have a
He's one
cut
of the
finger.
best
That's why I have a
catch-and-shoot guys out
band-aid.
there.
It might be
Aye,
singing.
and Lord Walton speaks
Of
well of
chopping
his
onions.
defense. I mean, I like the
chopping
lad.
finger.
It's just
Lord
I'm
Commander,
concerned.
another Raven. Sorry to interrupt, but it's a big name. Hall of Famer.
Were you going to say something, or you just want to tell everyone you had a...
He's joining
I just
your
wanted to tell
fingers.
everyone about my cut.
We're not worried
Yeah.
about house keys, Patrick.
Adam got a
You said
boo-boo.
big names, and
He's
he's
bloody
like,
40
got a
years
boo-boo.
old, Patrick.
I don't know. I
So
just
Vince
get a bad
Carter,
feeling about him.
Here,
like,
how
he
about
got
this?
seriously
Only
injured,
inform us of
McCall, if you
anything
remember,
that
right around the
actually
time, a week
matters
before this came
to the
out,
House of
like, fell on his
All
tailbone, falling over
So
Vince
say
Carter,
one
and we
of
were
the
really
great
worried that, like,
houses of
you
the
can't
West
talk about
makes a
Vince
move
Carter
that
and mention that. We knew that he might be
directly
paralyzed
affects
when we saw
that
that
sort of thing.
interview. It was
Right.
really scary,
Something that hurts our
but it turned out he was
chances.
fine, so we were able to leave the joke in there. I think we even added a
It's
little
good
thing.
fit. That'll know his role.
You may be right. This is not the Swaggy P of yore.
He's known as Uncle Swaggy now.
All right. So it is agreed.
Did Uncle Swaggy, like, did that catch on?
If they deem him fit, then a contract should... Oh, he's coming. He's coming up.
I don't think so, but I'm not the right person to ask, Craig.
Lord Commander, I've got
I'm
major
not
news.
everyone.
Multiple Ravens.
This better be good.
Yes. Sir Chris Paul has been traded to House Rockets. But wait, there's more. Jimmy Butler is joining
We have
Carl Anthony and
Steph
David
Curry
Lillard in
gnawing
Minnesota.
on
And
his
there's
arrow,
more.
the way he gnaws
Paul George
on
and Carmelo Anthony will
his
be
mouth
joining
guard.
Brody on
We
House
figured in
Rockets.
medieval times he would
Three
have that same
massive
habit, but
All in the West.
would be
Again,
within it,
Patrick,
like a medieval object.
only bring us news that actually affects our chances.
The scene was actually, I found the scene kind of like not my favorite. I thought it was.
Yeah, it wasn't
We're
my
kind of
favorite.
warming
Can we
up
pause
this
it for a
season.
second?
Yeah.
So maybe we should take some questions. What do you think, Adam?
Okay, let's do a couple questions. We'll let's start with Phoenix Rising 7777 says, "Who does Kyrie's voice?" I do Kyrie's voice. He is one of a few characters like Chris Paul who has a bit of a Tyrion voice, but Chris Paul's voice is a more of a Tyrion, a lower Tyrion like this, and Kyrie has a bit more of he's more of a snobbish Tyrion. Like, no, I don't think so. No, I'm Kyrie. became a bit snobby. He actually evolved to be a bit snobbier as his story evolved and his character and he became a little bit more of an NBA villain. He got a little bit snobbier in our voice. Craig, do you have a question you want to answer?
We have a request from Daniel Gamboa. He says, "Don't talk over the deleted scene, please." We will not. Don't worry about that.
We're going to respect the deleted scene. We're going to respect it with silence. I promise. And then one more question here, which is, why were you so mean to the Nets, and how are you going to redeem with KD and Kyrie? I
don't think we were mean to the Nets. I think we actually portrayed Sean Marks as like an intelligent GM who was, doing strategic moves and, digging him out of the bottom.
Yeah, and also, mean to me is being ignored. When we ignore teams, you can consider that mean. When your team gets in there, that's us showing respect. And then as far as KD and Kyrie, you'll have to wait and see for this season. All right, let's jump into one of our favorite episodes, The Sun Kings.
Yeah. This is based on the Stannis and Renly alliance scene, if you didn't know that, from Game of Thrones. And you should watch that scene and watch this. It's pretty cool.
Basketball operations be arriving. They've entrusted me as emissary. Now, what is this trade?
Trade? No. We've come to discuss.
By the way, we made Devin Booker emissary because we didn't want to have Lord Sarver as the guy talking point.
But together.
At this
we just thought it'd be more interesting to be Devin Booker.
Kings, sons.
Devin Booker, by the way, based on Renly Baratheon. That's where his accent comes from.
But what if I told you could play alongside the next Steph Curry?
And part of this was because there's one of the things about Game of Thrones is that there's a ton of alliances, and we can't really do alliances because they never happen in real basketball. So this was our attempt at trying to come close at least.
Standard for our new combined house.
Yeah, exactly. Also, big scene. Oh, Kisley's. Check this out.
Yeah, look. Craig's repping the Kisley's right now.
It's in the front of the crowd.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I was thinking maybe a crown inside.
I love this part.
Like a fiery crown. I like that.
Tyson Chandler is one of my low-key favorite characters here. They just
compositions.
I think it's great.
It just was a fun fact. I like the paint, and so we just made him a guy who just chimes in on artistic points of view.
Yeah, he's like the freshman in painting class or something.
Dragon. Yes, everyone is actually quite.
There's another scene with a lot of helmeted guys, similar to the Pacers scene.
Yeah, basically, and the rule of thumb, if you weren't here yesterday, is that when we run out of heads we can make for a scene because we only have a certain amount of time and resources, we start putting helmets on guys. So I always feel bad for the guys who just don't make the head cut.
Did you draft the Aaron
Yeah, somehow Costa Kufas made the cut though.
Because he's got the meme, shot.
We can
where he's just like,
when we join forces in Sacramento. You mean in Phoenicia? Oh, for heaven's sakes, we just built a state-of-the-art castle. Isn't Sacramento a bit small? You want us to go to Phoenicia when it's 120 degrees every day? It gets cool at night. Besides, do you expect us to abandon a city with such a rich basketball history? Well, clearly you are not familiar with the rich history of House Kings. Lord Commander Aberman and
Vladi, one of the best characters.
Oh, come on. They don't even compare to D'Antoni's 7
This scene is kind of, at this point, supposed to just evolve into, any argument you'd read, in some random forum on the internet.
Right. Basically, it evolves into who's better. Peak, the best Suns teams of that era, of the Steve Nash Suns versus, the Vladi, Chris Webber, White Chocolate.
Wait. Did you just compare Jason Williams to Steve
This is one of my favorite parts.
Have you gone mental?
Steve Nash never did an elbow pass. Who gives a shit?
What do you know about passing ball?
Oh, enough. Maybe we are a bunch of ball hogs.
Oh, the horse walk, remember?
Phoenicia. And sure, Sacramento's.
Horses are hard to walk.
I don't even know where it is, to be honest.
Yeah,
but if we put aside
if you look at the horse walk, they just flop forward.
Combine our houses, well then, still probably wouldn't make the playoffs.
We got better at that as the seasons went on.
But when I look
and to be fair, I couldn't even make it that good.
I see a bunch of guys who I may not know their names, and they may not be good.
TJ Warren.
Basketball, I think.
We think TJ Warren
In the
might
back
have
there.
subtweeted us after this episode.
I guess my point is...
Remember that?
I don't know. I don't want to be here.
Yeah. He said something like some tweet about being
Can we,
disrespected
pause it?
after this episode came out. So let's pause. One thing I want to say about this episode is that originally the ending was going to, we couldn't figure out how to end the scene. And originally what we were going to do was have Dragon Bender be a Dragon Bender. And he was actually, we're going to have some sort of like Chris Boss or a dragon come by. And then he was going to bend it. And they're going to realize that that was his true value, is that he could bend a dragon. But it was too stupid.
It never actually
didn't make any sense.
I think Eric Bledsoe made that tweet, and then we realized that was the ending to go with.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this next scene, unless you want to take a
question.
What is
the next scene? Let's take some questions.
The next scene is Bucks, but let's take a question.
First of all, Fat Kid Rock says, Adam, were the onions worth it? Normally, yes, not in this case. This thing would not stop bleeding, so that was I was scary. Actually, I was slightly concerned at one point, but then it was fine. But if I pass out during this episode, it's because I ran out of blood.
Were you crying from the onions or the boo boo?
I don't know, but I was crying. So let's see. Waskell says, how did you add that Vince part that quick? And actually, the reason we were able to add that Vince Carter part quickly is that he already made that joke. So he was already talking about Vince Carter. That was why it was so weirdly coincidental when the injury happened because of Vince Carter. And so all we did was quickly add, I think, a line or something. I forget exactly what it was, but something to acknowledge, how scary he is. I don't have a good feeling about him or something like that. Craig, any questions that are catching your eye?
Christopher Torres says, so you guys just hate the Nuggets, LOL? No, we actually don't. We've been trying really hard to get the Nuggets into Game of Zones, and we just there keep being unfortunate things that happen that prevent it. We had a whole scene that was supposed to be in episode 6 that was one of my favorite scenes we've ever written. And then it became kind of obsolete. So
the idea there, I'll quickly sum up that scene, which was the idea there was that when LeBron was going into free agency, if they would have lost in the first round that year, I think they were down to someone. I can't remember who it was in the first year. It was his last year at Cleveland. And we had prepped this idea that he would go into free agency and he would walk towards the Nuggets, and you get to see the whole world of Denver and the mountain people there, and they have nuggets of everything. They have chicken nuggets they're harvesting, and weed nuggets they're harvesting, and gold nuggets, and it's this happy little world. And then LeBron walks up, and he walks up the Hound in that scene where there's all those happy little people or whatever.
His hair is all grown out.
And he's got a full Hound style comb over type situation, LeBron, and he's ugh, and he walked through that, and then they're oh my god, he's actually coming here, and they try to, and all of a sudden their happy world where they're happy and the AC is turned upside down, and they all start throwing each other off cliffs and mountains to try and make cap space for LeBron, but then he just keeps walking right past them and continues on to LA. So it was something like that, but it just never panned out that way. So I apologize to Nuggets fans, but you can check out Jokic in a card at the end of one of the episodes, and maybe he'll appear in this next season. You'll have to watch it Thursday at noon. All right, why don't we dig into the next episode, which is one of my favorites all time?
Yeah, same.
Why is it called the Milwaukee? Because sometimes we just do things we don't need to do for no reason. And calling it Milwaukee is one of them.
This is our horror intro. The Slender
Now, this
Man,
is, for all intents and
fingers.
purposes, this is Giannis's real debut. He appeared for a second in the Feast of the East, but this is our first chance to really show him.
Yeah, he deserved a full episode because he's a really good player.
They're going to exile you at dawn. I knew this day would come. Demand a trial.
Jason Kidd is one of my favorite characters in the show. And
Giannis, you're a good kid.
He
you're a good kid.
This is the year he got fired.
They blame you for everything. Well,
The analytics makes us blame you for all the corner threes we give up.
This is really about that.
And the fanlings say it's your fault we don't know when to foul in the last 2 minutes of battle.
Yeah, well, okay, I mean that one. So
Even though half the knights have given up on you.
11 of them.
Did a deep dive into everything they're saying about Jason Kidd on Reddit to get all the information on this. Listen to some podcasts, talk to some Bucks fans.
I could stop blaming
It's a subtle joke there about Giannis never trying alcohol before and loving smoothies.
Because at the end of the day, I must be true to who I am. In here. And in here, I am an asshole.
I like that Meredith
An asshole.
gave
don't have a clue what I'm doing.
him a little Jason Kidd a little name tag. He says Jason on his pajamas.
That's how he knows they're his pajamas.
Did you have
Larry Drew for a year? So that joke was because, like, I actually thought that. I'm like, wait, did he have Larry Drew for a year? And then I'm like, I'm going to write that in. I feel like other people might forget that. And then also, when he calls him, this is a reference to when he dropped soda to call the timeout. But him calling himself an asshole there is probably my favorite Game of Thrones joke of all time, I think. In here, I am an asshole.
The big dog.
So this is based on the crypts from Under Winterfell, where you have like the Ned Stark statue and all the other Starks.
Years ago.
We feel like the Bucks kind of have a Stark vibe to them, so we wanted to match that.
Candles and praying to the statue.
And the scene is kind of like scenes where Jon Snow or Arya or Sansa are like all in the tunnel reflecting and looking at statues.
Lord Commander.
Also, the Celtics are also House Starks, and also the
They would come down here to pay us.
They're all like Northern House.
That resentment, that anger, that was Sir Kid's greatest weapon. And
some cool statues in the background, though. There's the Big O back there. There's
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So Ray Allen.
Was pretty comfortable fighting under George Carl. They spent years on the brink of conquering the East together, but they never did. Things grew toxic. 5 years later, Ray was finally.
We chose Jason Terry here, I think, because he was like an old wise player at the time.
And Sir Jordan was
he also was a former teammate of Jason Kidd on
but
Dallas.
It was under the same master that he became a champion. Don't forget about Steve Curry, mate. He was quite comfortable with Mark Jackson, but Steve Curry
he's quite comfortable with Mark Jackson.
What are you doing down here?
Another one of our classic screen characters.
I actually found a pretty cool cave. You guys want to come check this out?
I love his candle.
Wow. What is this place?
Spelunky candle.
This must be pre-merger.
Yeah, I don't recommend doing that in real life.
I don't know.
Yeah, do not tie a candle to your head.
Candle to your head. The light you'll get is not worth the safety hazard.
So this is like one of my favorite scenes of all time in Game of Thrones, because we had a show Bible we wrote at the beginning of season 4 with all the history and everything about our universe, and we put in like the white people, the forest, and all this stuff we're talking about. And we didn't know how to get into the show, and then there's the scene in Game of Thrones where they're in a cave with the dragon glass and they discover all the ancient cave paintings. That was like this eureka moment. We're like, yes, that's how we'll do it. So this episode just takes a complete right turn.
Oh yeah, that must be Maester Naismith. Wow. Legend has it, he settled Bolaros and made our holy
Pay attention to this lore, this important lore here.
Yeah, look. It says here, Thou Maker. That's him.
Wait, that's a Thorn Maker.
Trust me, this all makes complete sense.
Did you say this was again?
Also, if you pause it right here, there's a skeleton under there. If you go back, like a bunch of frames. Sorry, I forgot about this. Keep going. Nope, too far. This is gonna be hard to find.
It's like one frame. Yeah. Well, you guys, you'll see it. Watch for the skeleton as we go up here.
Creep forward.
Go frame by frame.
So.
And there's a skeleton. Do you know the backstory to skeleton, Craig? I forget.
There's like a joke on that. It's just this guy, a dead guy with a basketball.
No. Wait, I thought there was like someone was buried. There's something about the court being haunted. Kyrie thought the court was like something. I don't know.
Yeah, wait, keep nudging forward. I think.
Does Evan know? Is this an Evan fun fact?
Wait.
I forget. There's something where Kyrie thought the court was
keep going.
Something with the court. He thought the old court was haunted or something like that.
No, this is it. The floorboards.
Right, because they brought back the old court at one point, and Kyrie thought the court was different. He thought it was different or something.
But
all they did was repaint it.
This is it.
No, that's the trophy.
Yeah, no, this is the secret room we passed by.
Right.
Can we?
Yeah.
Wait. Okay.
Mecha court storage. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was. There's a big conspiracy theory or something.
All right. So I just want to apologize to everyone for wasting your time with that, and mostly I want to apologize to everyone in the control room who had to meticulously go back and forth so that we could show you a generic skeleton and wood. So let's continue.
All right, let's roll the tape.
Sorry, everyone.
There's a sexy Thon Maker. So Thon Maker tweeted this out afterwards. He was really excited about this episode, and I think it's because we drew him really jacked there. He's James Naismith.
Let's pause for a second. Let's jump into some cues. Let's see. KDP says, any chance of ever releasing the Our Jordan Wizard saga, even through a book or short story? Oh, listen,
I was thinking, what if we did
very limited chance? But
what if we did
always a
reverse?
Chance.
If we did a reverse George R.R. Martin, where we make the show first and then we write the novels, the Game of Zones novels,
Yeah, guys. So actually, the reason we're stopping the cartoons is because Craig and I are going to take a few years to write these into novels. And so even if you don't see your favorite team in a 5-minute video, you'll get to read about them soon in a 1,000-page novel. Feel free to
Adam,
pre-order that.
Before we answer another question, do you want to talk about the Jason Kidd freezing time idea? Do you remember that? His giant master plan. There's a giant vat of soda. This is before the cell phone.
Remember.
We're going to do a scene where Jason Kidd wanted to freeze time forever. And he has a giant vat of mead, and he screams from the top of Milwaukee that he's going to create the biggest timeout the realm has ever seen, and then he spills the vat of mead, and all of time freezes. Then that never happened, but we ended up doing the Celtics scene where they have soda. That comes later. But anyway, let's take another question.
But so it did touch on a little bit, but that was fun. I forgot about that actually. Is there anyone do one? Okay, one more question, which is Big Baller says, why does Giannis run weird? And the answer is because we have a very complicated animation style, and because we overly designed these characters to be so realistic, it's really hard to make them run. Okay, and so it's also 2D animation.
Yeah, most cartoons are really simple. If you look at the design of SpongeBob, he's just a square with circle eyes. We are idiots and made our style photorealistic, and then we had to move all those parts around, and that's not easy to do. So that's why sometimes it looks a little weird. That's short answer.
All right, let's jump into the raid on Sable's Castle, which is maybe one of our most epic episodes. Until this season premieres Thursday at noon. This is a great episode, in my opinion. We were to say about our own stuff, but come on, this is a great episode.
That's Blake.
If you like jokes and adventure.
What happened to Lord Commander? Are you okay?
He was attacked at the end of the 4th quarter by the jester.
Well, the Rivers boy laughed. I will break their ankles.
Nay.
You know what? This is such a good episode. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick and let Craig handle this on his own for 2 minutes.
But sometimes.
Be right back.
It's feudal, Chris. You know the gates of Sable's Castle are
all right, guys, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Adam.
Now, House Clippers share their castle with House Lakers, which means doubly fortified walls. They were then reinforced to protect Kobe from Shaq after his exile, and then reinforced to protect Kobe from Dwight, and then reinforced to protect Kobe from trying to unretire.
I have nothing.
It won't be easy.
I can't think of anything to tell you about Adam. I'm sorry.
That's me, James, Clint, Trevor, Eric, Ryan.
So here is the back of Eric and Ryan.
You, what's your name?
We never actually show their faces in the tent because
you're in.
Another trick to not design anyone.
Back entrance, a wheelchair ramp built for Sir Paul Pierce. Synchronize your sundials. If we time it right, we can slice through their lazy zone defense at the rear gates.
Backdoor cut.
Exactly. But we'll need a distraction. That's where you come
So
in.
this
Vince.
scene is loosely based on Tyrion's. Hello, Adam. Oh my God, Evan! Welcome.
It's our producer, Evan Matthews, everyone.
How much for the sandals?
It's our producer, Evan
to
Matthews.
Emma, there you go.
400 gold.
Wait, what?
I was struggling.
Thanks for covering.
There's a small window that leads to
Off the
dance
bench.
floor and
No
secret
problem.
Evan Matthews,
that send his
third man of the year
It's
award
easy
to
spot
Evan
because
Matthews.
Yeah,
his
so
birds will
Evan
fly.
is
Hoist me up and I'll
producer on
sneak
Game
in
of
and unlock
Zones,
the door.
and he is behind the scenes. He's
they're
feeding us
autographed by Lonzo
questions.
Ball.
He's doing all sorts of
Feeding
he's
us
the glue.
grapes.
He's
You on House Rockets.
fanning us with giant palm leaves.
Listen, I know that you guys get annoyed when we talk too much over the thing about Sundial Watch,
Welcome.
but I just want you guys to
Abel's
know that I feel so much
Once
more
inside,
relieved
we'll have
than
to walk on
I
eggshells.
did 2 minutes ago.
See,
So
Sterling's
thank you
roost
guys
is
for
now the
bearing with me
chamber of
there.
Chuck the Condor.
Now I'm ready to
Most
dig
horrifying
into some real
mascot
fun
of the realm.
facts.
All right, now you lead
Alright,
the
I'm gonna
way.
hang out here until the end of the episode. I
Do you
love this
want
one.
a guaranteed
Yeah,
contract?
please do.
Then do.
Evan, anything you want to chime in, like that you've been like dying to say?
No, just shout out to all the Nuggets fans in the chat. Love seeing the questions about the Nuggets.
Oh no, he's coming back.
Yeah. They're here because they're alive. So,
I
by
want
the
to
way,
say something about this.
It's what I do.
Oh,
I don't know. A condor's even considered family. Whoa.
what were you gonna say, Ed?
no, I'm going to say this thing here, which is that what we imply here. You want to tell them, Craig, what we're implying here? That there is a little bit of a love affair here between these two mascots.
We then
I
descend
just- I
past
told
the
you.
Yeah, Chuck the
Jack-
Condor and Pierre the Pelican have a little Loris Tyrell Renly thing going on that we were insinuating, but it's kind of hard to
Now what?
make clear.
No, there's supposed to be.
So
a
here's
secret-
Kobe's shrine,
James, check his closet.
Nothing.
and
Just some skeletons. Here, look.
obviously this was a different time, so we're ribbing Kobe. We wouldn't
In the
do that now,
background
but,
here, can we
you know,
pause it for a sec?
it's
And go back to the previous shot. We have on the wall behind Trevor Ariza, right there, the gifts from Kobe's Purple Retirement episode are in his shrine now on the back there. So you've got the bobblehead of Michael Jordan. You've got the teddy bear that Dwight gave him. There's the wine jug, which is behind Trevor Ariza's head. And then
Which is that Kobe wine.
skull,
Vino 24.
the skull of the donkey that Shaq gave him. So it's a little
Yeah, those are some
tie in
deep
there,
cut
little
Easter eggs
callback.
right there. Also, before we
Yeah.
continue, I just want to say that some commentator, Stephen Mai, thinks that Evan looks like Post Malone before he got tattoos.
I'll take that. Post Malone's big.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, no,
I might get the
he's a cool
tattoo.
guy. He's a cool guy. I don't get that.
I might just have to get the tattoo.
I don't. I get something way worse, probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
I read that it's
Rich
called
Mad
Mad
Money
Malone.
guy.
in the
I
chat.
got the
I'm
Mad
really
Money guy. All right,
I
let's
really
keep
thought that
going.
said
Let's
Carl
keep
Malone at
going.
first.
Jim Kramer.
Carl Malone. You look like Carl Malone. Jim Kramer.
Mambas. Black Mambas.
Trevor!
This is the most elaborate pun-based plot device.
Wait, hold on. It could be 5.
Suspension.
For each championship. No, it's 81. Kobe scored 81 on Sir Jalen, the Knight of Roses.
Of course. Yes. He values individual accomplishments above all others. 8, 1.
Trevor Ariza's just like about to hit a bunch of
Trevor, are
spikes.
you okay?
I love the
suspended.
note the music
Go
hits
on
when
without
that's
me.
one of my favorite
Finish what
little
we started.
moments of the show.
To him, the
When the light
Nazis
hits them and like that
This
music,
will take
the
us
beautiful
to the
music
Locker Room
hits.
Doors.
It's just,
Now,
I find that to be
the
such
event
a
has been counted
happy
to
moment.
By the way, Mace
Let's stop
secret
the
gold
puzzle.
stash.
Operation Jenner.
Cheers, thanks for coming out.
Oh yeah, because Maester Rivers left $10,000 there when he was on the Celtics.
Whole house.
So this stand-up that Blake is practicing, he performs in the next episode, but he never gets through the joke, is based on actual stand-up that Blake Griffin has done at the Improv in Hollywood, and you can watch that stand-up if you search it.
Right. On with
It's
the
just
rest.
the story he tells about a strip club he goes to.
Oh, I don't know.
It's very
not just the
inappropriate.
beard. I
Yeah,
am the beard.
it's fine. It's fine. He's funny.
Do it for Lord Commander.
But we like to rip him
Amazing
for like
stand-up
calling
career
the
cut too
Jester.
short by a trade to Detroit.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. He's just stand up. No, then he got cool and got a beard and became cool,
You'll
tough
be a
Detroit auto guy.
And your pubes.
Detroit guy, yeah. Gotta give him to the Nets, go full hipster.
Yeah.
You look.
By the way, also, there's no reason why I had to give his pubes to. It just was a funny
I don't
joke.
know if I can do this.
Also, this doesn't make
Adam
any sense.
improvised that.
Instead of acting like you're getting
This was like our
basically-
equivalent of a
Jenner.
of a faceless man.
Hey,
Like
baby,
instead of a faceless man,
Yeah,
he can just
exactly.
shave his beard and become.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dunk.
That checks out.
Right.
But I'm
So
Well, you haven't
Harden
been
has the magical
you haven't
ability
been
to shave his
responding
beard
to
and
my
become
ravings.
anyone. We haven't really talked about that much in the show, but that is part of the lore.
Modeling. I mean, I was in Europe. I was modeling.
Also,
He
by
can't
the
change
way,
his voice.
shout out to Jack Perkins, Pure Hoop, who did the animatic for this episode. He did the storyboards for this. He this is a really hard episode to do storyboards for. He killed it.
That's when I make the move.
What are you doing here?
Doing something I should have done a long time ago.
There's a picture in the locker room in the back left that is Austin Rivers hugging his dad in
From the episode where he, yeah, something. Okay, folks.
I can't remember
So
anything.
before we jump into the Isle of Van Gundy's, which is my all-time probably favorite episode.
Evan-
It's my favorite episode. I know I say that about everything, but
I'm gonna head out and go
Wait,
grab some
Evan.
more questions.
Oh. All right,
look
bye,
at this Game of
Evan.
Zones poster, everyone.
And champions.
That means he really does work for us. All right.
And
So let's answer some questiones. Okay.
nice Spanish, Adam.
Thank you. I've been doing Duolingo. Okay, someone says, why does Paul Pierce need a wheelchair ramp at the Staples Castle? Great question. So that's actually because of the meme, or that was a meme. It was one game where he left in a wheelchair, apparently because he like pooped his pants or something. I don't exactly. It was. I think he might have.
Well,
rumor
at
has
the
he might have
time,
started.
we didn't know that.
Yeah, but I think what happened was he was in a wheelchair. He's wheeled off into the locker room and wheeled back, and it turned out I believe he sharded, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So, but something along those lines.
We'll
Another
look
question.
into
Let's see. Miami sports fan says, "What happens when a house relocates?" That's a great question. Well, you can see if we're going to get later to the 1K episode where they have some Seattle relics. But it kind of that area decays and becomes like Valyria. For the most part, they pick up the soldiers leave, and then it becomes a ruined city.
Yeah, it's we have there's extinct houses in Game of Thrones, and there's the equivalent in Game of Zones, and so Seattle. There's also exiled houses in Game of Thrones, and those are houses that move to different cities. So Seattle would be an exiled house, and they sort of become like Harrenhal, which is just this abandoned, destroyed city that is rumored to be haunted, but. We'll see.
So Kemba's left hand says, "How do you tell who has a deep voice, like for instance Jason Terry or Draymond Green?" So a couple aspects I want to answer. So how do we tell? There's certain guys who are just gritty players, and they sort of get the grittier voices. You know what I mean? So players who are tough guys, players who are bad boys, that sort of thing. Guys who get fouls, we give them the rougher sort of cockneyed sort of have a more tougher, gritty voices. And then some of the finesse players like Steph Curry get more voices like this, and they get to roll their R's and do things like this, and they get a fancy voice. So that's generally how we break it up. And generally, also speaking, I do some of the grittier, lower voices, and Craig does some of the more
higher pitched voices. I do.
Well
Thank you.
So
Thank
we're
you.
about to jump into the Van Gundy Island, which is an idea that Craig and I thought of years before we did it. We were just kicking around ideas early in Game of Zones time, and Game of Zones time.
It was the summer before this season came out. We were hanging out by the pool, and we were thinking about the Van Gundys on a tropical island, and we're just like, whoa, they could be like monks. And we were thinking about there's this group of monks that we had seen like on like a 60 Minutes a while ago. That was like they live in like in a church, an old Greek Orthodox church in like a random island in the middle of like the Mediterranean. And it's like that's at least what I was thinking of when we had designed this episode.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think
but we thought having them do like chants, we thought was just funny, and like then we thought about the Van Gundian rants. So anyway, we're gonna jump to the episode now, and just so you know, this episode was supposed to just be about him training. Stan Van takes the Pistons there to train, but it turns out then Blake Griffin got traded, and we had to implement that into the episode. So let's rock and Van Gundian roll. Beyonce, like Beyonce.
My home island grows near. When we get there, my brothers will bestow on each of you great knowledge, and hopefully turn this season around.
I don't see anything.
Before you see them, you'll hear them. Shh. Listen.
So, you might have heard this on loop before the show started. So we wrote the lyrics first for this.
Some sort of...
And then we found a like royalty-free track, and Adam basically sang over it with the lyrics, kind of just improvised.
I thought it was you.
And then
no.
No. What happened? No, let me explain. So you sang over it, and then I chose my favorite melody, and then after you left, I did like 20 different harmonies over your core melody, and so it's one Adam like seed voice, and then like 10, 15 Craigs is the Van Gundys.
So I want to talk about these heads for a second. These heads are all different mashups of they're all mashups of Stan Van and Jeff Van Gundy, and all their parts just rearranged in different ways with different haircuts. So every head is a mashup of Stan and Jeff. In some form.
Yeah, it's like Stan's nose, Jeff's eyebrows, like. Oh yeah, I wanted to pause it here. You can see in the background teeth in the top of the cave. They're inside the mouth of the giant Van Gundy head right now. So that's a little background detail that our background artists, Richard and Tom, put in there, which I thought was just an awesome touch, so that you can see that they're on the tongue in a giant Van Gundy head. A lot of Van Gundy shaped objects on this island, and as we go along in our journey through Van Gundy Island, I'll be sure to point some of them out. Anyway, we can keep going.
We're taking a van through the Gundys.
Brother Stan!
Brother Jeff!
Is that really you?
How the hell are you?
Terrible.
This is where you can see Boban is a true giant in our universe.
How are you?
I'm miserable. We're stuck in the damn
just out of frame.
and I've tried everything. Could use a bit of your help, Brother Jeff.
The Van Gundian monks will always help a coach in need.
Knights of Detroit, come here and form a wall. I want you to meet my brothers. This is Jeff Van Gundy.
Hello there.
That's Ethan Van Gundy.
Pleasure to meet you.
Ref Van Gundy. That there's Jan Van Gundy.
Greetings.
Jan Van Gundy.
Who did Jan Van? Did me or you?
That was you, but we had considered our sister and my girlfriend for the parts.
Yeah. Shout out to Kate Malamut, Tate Scarmazzino, our sister, the other Malamut. Woo!
Ilana.
And my wife, Shira, who I need another
here,
water.
I'm gonna pause it. We here's another Van Gundy head that I think no one caught because we did a really bad job of like conveying it with a head here. It's like really subtle. We tried to form a Van Gundy face out of birds flying in front of the sun, and then two clouds formed the like balding, like the male pattern
the horseshoe hair. The horseshoe hair.
Yeah, the horseshoe hair. It's not really that clear, but there you go. So we can keep going. Thank you.
Can't make a free.
Oh, this is where we have this sweaty Patrick Ewing statue in the background, which is one of my favorite Easter eggs of all time.
No, I just sort of feel like I don't need analytics.
It just bubbles water from the top of the Patrick Ewing. And
I know that. I can see that.
People want to know maybe why we chose Tobias Harris to be in love, have a little fling with Jan Van, and actually there's no reason.
You know, there is
we just
another
picked him.
option. mean, you are the master of
Yeah,
trades,
he's just a
right?
well-known player. He was on the
Well,
Pistons.
I
We
hear
needed
we've
someone to
got
fall in love with Jan Van.
part ways with his most
So,
decorated knight.
he
If I send a
did the
raven
bill.
now, they could be here on tomorrow.
I just... screw it. Send the raven.
Classic bad shooting joke.
He's even
Good
bolder
timing.
and louder than I.
Now this is
Developing.
this is based on Ballmer's famous developers speech.
Developers. Check it out. Google that.
Yeah, you got to check that out. It's really sweaty.
Who would you want for him?
Check out the details on Jerry West's neck. That thing, that Jerry West head should be hanging in the Louvre.
Also Avery Bradley.
Those are some nice
I
neck
also
wrinkles
love
right there.
I love the poses of the guys in the background. Ballmer just like crunch, like hunched over and squinting.
7 L's, that's a lot of gold. I mean,
This is basically Jerry West just being like doing his like Jedi mind tricks on Stan Van.
Wow, that's really athletic. I just 170.
Yeah, we wanted to portray Jerry West as just like this incredible psychological warrior who can just is the best at what he does. And Jeff Van Gundy Stan Van Gundy just has no chance.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, so here's the stand-up.
He's pretty funny.
Cheers, thanks for coming out, everyone. So my squire here, some of the older blokes take me to a whorehouse.
Not that one, not that one.
Right, so a ref walks into a bar, and then a table, and then some chairs.
Because the ref is blind. That's great, laddie. Oh, it's a deal.
Beautiful. What an incredible story arc. Save the Cat 101, everyone. This is how you write a full-on story. Perfectly wrapped up.
I love Gundy Van Gundy. We were gonna make a shirt of Gundy Van Gundy. Never got around to it.
What are they doing?
It said severely Gundy, and it was all like electrical and cool, like Beavis and Butthead.
And then the. Do you want to tell
this
what
is
this
a reference to So this is a reference to when the Heat and the Knicks in the late '90s, I think it was, got in the playoffs when they got in a huge fight. There's a brawl, and if you search on YouTube, Jeff Van Gundy grabbed onto Alonzo Mourning's leg and he dragged him across the court. So naturally, what follows is that is how all the Van Gundys would exit a room. So,
all right.
Want to do some questions before we tee up the old Porzingis episode? Okay.
Yeah. Adam, before we talk about that, let's talk about the fact that halfway through making that episode, the Blake Griffin trade happened, and we had to episode was completely.
We had to overhaul it. So I touched on it for a second in the episode, but like the details of that were that, it was really just about they were going to go to Stan Van was having problems. They're in the 8 seed, 9 seed. And he's like, I'm going to take them to the island and hopefully my brothers can straighten out this team and get them to be better. But then the trade happened and we had to like figure that out. And so that whole second half of that was added on to that. But we had time to do that because that happened around the trade deadline. This episode didn't come out until I think April or May. So we had a little time to take care of that. Evan Kirby says, my grandpa went to college with Jerry West. So I just want to say to Evan Kirby, very cool.
MGE5 says, has being the creators of Game of Zones ever gotten you laid? Well, funny story about that. No, to that first question. But my girlfriend was getting ice cream. And she was wearing a Game of Zones shirt, and the guy upgraded her ice cream from a small to a medium. That's the only time Game of Zones has ever benefited someone I know.
And I get laid all the time because of the Game of Zones. Whenever I do Stan Van's voice like this, no, laddie, come here and get me laid now. Then she usually comes over, and then my wife and I have coitus. So that happens all the time. It's the only way I get laid, actually. is when I do Stan Van Gundy's voice. So great question, and thanks for asking. So someone asked, are you going to make any retro NBA episodes? Maybe not. But Thursday at noon, new season starts, and those questions will be answered, what we're going to do. Let's see. Let's see here. What we got? Someone says I still don't unique Osprey 949 says I still don't get the whole hunting for fouls reference. Can you explain it? So the reason is because hunting for fouls is James Harden. Part of his game is that he draws fouls. He gets people to get out. He hunts for fouls. He does tricks to get fouled. And so hunting for fouls, which is a word for certain kinds of birds, was the pun there. Like he was hunting fouls, but in the game, he hunts for fouls. Pretty clever, huh?
White Chocolate asks, what is your favorite song from Game of Zones? Oh, man. I think my favorite's probably Lil Wayne's Purple Retirement song. I just think everything about that is just perfect. I love that one. I don't know what you think.
Favorite song. What are some songs? There's
the one that we're
Dame
about to
in the
watch.
Cave. There's Dame in the Cave.
There's,
Okay, you're right. Great segue, because my favorite song is sung by none other than James Dolan in the episode you're about to watch now, which is what we would call in the business a bottle episode, because we went crazy with the last two episodes. They were so big and over budget, and so like over the time like we were supposed to write them for. So we had our production manager Chris like, you got to give me a small episode. So we're like, all right, we'll give you a small episode. And this is our small episode. This is to save us, get us back on schedule.
Yeah, there's very little movement. Very few characters.
Chris Dapps, are you excited about your new Lord Commander Fizdale?
So we finally
House Knicks won't be getting rooked anytime soon.
made someone old man, and it's Walt Frazier.
Don't listen to it. Crows are all liars.
Porzingis is now like the fourth brand, and there's going to be more.
Not all crows. I know a story
Porzingis was
about
injured,
the bird.
so
His
he
name
became
was
brand this
Larry,
year.
And his hair was fair, just like yours. But he had a third eye that could see into the future. Also a bad back.
I hate your stories.
I know a
So,
story about a child who
The
hated
way that
stories.
we wrote this
I also
episode
know a story
was,
about a Chris
well,
child who
Adam did a
punched
ton of
goalies.
research,
I could tell you about
and we
Sir
brought
Ewing the
a
Sweaty.
Knicks
Those
fan
were
from The
always your
Office
favorite.
into
I could
our
tell you
edit
the
bay,
tale
and
of
we
Strawberry
just
Shaggy
grilled
and his
him.
wagon
We just
with the marketing
we didn't really grill him. We just said
Is
like,
this the sort
complain
of
about the Knicks.
salacious and
Just tell us
flirtatious
everything that
story?
drives you crazy about the Knicks.
No.
Shout out to Lance Becker in the BR graphics department.
There's nothing
he
more
oversees
frightening
all
than being
sorts
the
of
second
things
option
that
to
I don't even
Carmelo
exactly know
in the
now because
triangle.
he oversees a lot.
Oh,
But
my sweet
he came in. He's a
Latvian
Knicks
child.
fan. He's a grumpy
What
Knicks
do
fan. We
you
brought him in.
know
We
about
sat him down. And we
fair?
said, "Tell us
Fair
everything
is
that sucks
for
about
the
the Knicks."
elders who've suffered through the
told us.
entire reign of James Dolan. Fanlings are born and live and die, all without seeing a playoff win or a decent draft pick. It was in this darkness that Isaiah Thomas gave a 5-year contract to Jerome Big Snacks James.
Who?
Exactly.
Our intention here was to really be like
Time for fear,
cathartic
my
for Knicks
lanky lord.
fans.
Watching Stephon Marbury,
Yeah.
Steve Francis,
We just wanted to
Jamal
let it all
Crawford,
out.
three
And like
shoot
the
first
perfect
guards
metaphor
trying
was
to
talking about the
coexist
long
in the
night,
same backcourt.
but in the context of how bad the Knicks have been. And it's also very
Yeah.
satisfying for me as a Sixers fan to
Weren't we going to do this
talk about
about a
the Knicks.
different? We're going to do this about the Sixers, Adam. Remember, this is going to be a Sixers scene about the process.
Oh yeah.
And it was like Markel Fultz or someone laying in bed.
Yeah, I forgot. But it was Sixers. We were toying. We were going back and forth between the Sixers and Knicks.
But ultimately, the Knicks had it a lot
But you
worse.
keep lying and complying because it's terrifying and... Oh, did I just hear a Lord?
So this song
Rollin'.
is based on JD and the Straight Shots.
Dolan.
Just wanted
song,
to stop and
Better
sing
Find a
Kristoff's
Church.
there
It's a
little
parody.
cheer up song.
Oh, how delightful and exciteful.
There we go.
Better find a sept, a good place to cry. 'Cause we're not going to tank or play Frank Ntilikina, 'cause Moodier's our guy. Better find a sept, a good place.
Word on the
to
street
pray
for
all
a little
your
birdie is that
sins.
James Holland didn't love this episode, but I don't know. That's just rumor. Just a rumor.
Shout out to designers and animators who did Kristoff's face.
And Oakley's
It's one of my
will
favorite
not welcome back. Maybe I'll resign
face
Jared Jack.
designs.
Hell, I'll pay the luxury tax.
So this was meant to play over the credits, so we're playing it because we'll let it play. I'm not gonna talk about it.
Contract. Ooh, I should bring Isaiah. Tom is back, and the small one too, for a longer deal. I think Alfred Payton is the next Bradley Beal.
All right, Krislaps, Porzingis, time for you to hurry up and heal. A little birdie told me Fizdale hates his European big men. Talk to you later, buddy. See you in Lithuania. Where's Oakley? I want to kick him.
Can we pause it? There's actually some interesting unused lore that I don't think we'll ever use because I think we erased it from the show Bible. But we had an idea that unicorn players would actually grow unicorn horns out of their forehead. Do you remember that, Adam? We designed a unicorn version of Kristoff's and
yeah,
they would,
he originally had a
of
horn coming out the top, yeah.
There were certain very special players in the league who could grow horns, and this was like a sign they were part of an ancient, very special, magical collection of players known as unicorn players and they would try to hide their horns because there was like a purging of unicorns at one point, and so they like shave it down, and like LeBron had one, and like that was like explained as like hair surgery. It was actually like a horn surgery, and then like Giannis had one, but he had like buck antlers, and it was a whole thing, but we never really got into it.
All right, so we're going to do a few quick questions here because somehow we are going slowly here. It's 9 p.m. and we're not even we just get done episode 6 was that? So we're going to roll. Let's see. We've got a couple. Someone said someone says I bet James or Joshua Conniff says I bet James Dolan has banned you guys from the Garden. That would be an honor. I would love to be amongst the band.
Yeah, I don't. But, if he could recognize us, maybe he would. But
here's an interesting question from Christopher Choices. What do you think was the most disappointing episode, Craig? Do you have a most disappointing episode?
I don't know. How is an episode disappointing? Because like we're making it the whole time. So like
I can give an answer. And actually talking to someone else's question.
I have an idea too. Yeah.
Okay. You want to go?
Yeah. I would say I was disappointed that the Sun Kings didn't get as positive a response as I thought it deserved. I was really excited about that episode, and people just didn't want to see an episode with like bad teams in it. But I personally love episodes about bad teams. I think they're really like it's just a funny area to write about. And
everyone talks about the good teams.
It stinks that people want to just see good players. They don't necessarily want to see like the funniest players sometimes, but yeah, whatever.
And I would say actually for me, I thought the Celtics episode of the next season, episode 7, where the one where Lucky dies was, I thought was so funny that like he talks for 2 minutes about Lucky dying, but apparently that episode was not that. It seems like people now like it, but back then, like people really thought it was a disappointing episode, and I was disappointed by the reaction because I personally thought the like long explanation of like how he died. I thought that whole episode was really clever, and so I'd say that how that was people reacted to that was probably for me was slightly disappointing. But now people seem to like it, and generally people like it overall. Anyway, so we're now going to jump into the next episode, which is a doozy, one of the most popular episodes and one of my favorite episodes, NBA 1K. Here we are at the pick and roll in.
Oh yeah, we wanted to pause it here.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, and then I'm like, oh yeah, we said pause it here.
So in the pick and roll inn is basically a bar that, or an inn that has a tavern in it that's run by Squatch, the mascot of the Seattle Supersonics, because he's out of a job, so he opened an inn, and it's based on the inn that Hot Pie was in Game of Thrones, and he decorated the whole interior with old memorabilia from the Supersonics, and the Sonics. I keep saying Supersonics, but it's just where people go to hang out. They meet with other team members, and you can see on the wall we have a painting of the Rain Man, Sean Kemp, and then we have also a portrait way in the back that is the Inside the NBA guys, or as we call them, Inside the Realm. And you'll see it a little bit closer later on in the episode, but we actually gave that portrait to Ernie Johnson and Shaq and Charles and Kenny when we were on Inside the NBA a couple years back. And now Ernie Johnson has that painting behind him in all of his videos from quarantine, where he's like live streaming and like interviewing people. So that's a weird little connection that we weren't expecting to happen. So anyway, is there anything else from this shot, Adam, that you wanted to point out?
No, I think you covered it all. Let's roll the clip.
Come on, Ben, take a 3-pointer. What are you afraid of? Oh, right, the fact that it definitely won't go in.
This guy talks more trash than a young Kobe.
And also takes more bad shots than the old one.
At least I take shots, Benny, 1 point.
All right, just roll. Some of us actually have real games to play.
Rude. All right, I'll take the pass and then drive the lane.
Celtics had just beaten the Sixers in the playoffs.
Oof, that's a turnover. Ooh, mistakes like that can cost you Squire of the Year. But I guess you can always try again next year.
So,
whose turn is it?
Adam and I aren't big 2K players, but there are a couple people at the office at Bleach Report are huge 2K players. Dimitri Francis and Sean Mishra.
How is it?
And we just grilled them on all their complaints about 2K.
Oh, so there's no nice over here.
Well, can I see mine?
Then we made fun of it.
Let me find
in this cartoon.
Here's Gordon Hayward.
The Mona Lisa joke was actually a joke that someone made on Reddit, and it was such a good joke that we just wanted to do a proper painting of it, and then we gave the person credit in the and we asked the permission. But it was too good of a joke to not include.
Lonzo, your rating's actually pretty solid.
That he looks like Mona Lisa.
It was also really fun to draw him as the Mona Lisa.
Doesn't look anything like me.
I guess they got lazy towards the back of the draft.
Well, what's my rating?
You can see Jason Kidd and Stan Van in the background getting served ale from Squash because
just got fired.
They both had been fired at this point.
It's probably changed.
So they're drinking their stars away.
Why don't you just create your own night?
Suppose I should. Ugh, what are those?
Those are your default 1K boots. You start with them.
Nay, little me can't be seen in these. Come on.
So you got to carve your own player in
for your character from
this version of the game.
But I warn you, it gets expensive.
Oh, 500 coppers for boots? That's madness.
Oh, well, you can't put a price on style.
The old big baller brand ball busts there. That was a go-to joke back in the day.
You, Ronnie,
I don't know if you kids remember that, but back in the day, big baller brand overcharged for sandals.
You try, you buy.
Come on. Well then, I'd like your
this is Ronnie 2K, portrayed as Ronnie 1K, and he's like the face of NBA 2K.
Here.
No,
he changed his avatar to this after this episode came out. It's pretty stoked.
He's reading a paper of ad mentions. He's reading his ad mentions.
Are you right? So,
but yeah, virtual currency was a very big frustration for people. You'd have to use real money to buy fake money, and then use that fake money to get perks in the game, and it drove people crazy. I think.
What do I do?
Still does to this day.
You're on a team with Coos and Donovan. Markel, you ready?
No.
Okay, I'll send a full court pass to Mitchell.
All right, roll for it.
The old Lonzo's got weird shooting form.
Now, I've picked up all 100 of my virtual coppers.
If you're wondering, we don't actually have rules for the game fully fleshed out, but we have put some thought into it. It's sort of like Dungeons and Dragons.
You're free short.
So after the battle, you run into Matt Barnes. He asks you if you'd like to join him on a 95-mile quest to kick Derek Fisher's ass.
This artwork is loosely
violence
based
is never
on
the answer, or B, but sometimes it is.
tapestry, the Bayou Tapestry.
So boring. Can we skip
in,
this?
Nope, sorry. According to
medieval,
the rules, you can't.
Which is one of
England.
it's a 1,000-year-old
Pure
meme.
Sharp, demigod, alpha god, with
Yeah.
limitless range. Y'all are barbecue chicken.
Damn, Coos.
And it only cost me 20,000 coppers and 3 me goats.
All right, Coos, get in. Fultz, the game is almost over. You sure you don't want to sub in?
Okay, I'm ready. Hezzy, pull up Jimbo, top of the key. Oops.
Remember, because right around that time he
injured Embiid.
he bumped heads with
points away
Embiid,
from
or like hit his shoulder in Embiid's
I want to
face.
dunk over Ben Simmons.
Was not good.
Also,
you know, a wee bit taller than Kevin Hart, right?
You can see the shields in the background of like House Cannonballs is a reference to the bullets,
I win.
which is another.
Who says I'm not squire of the
You know,
year?
Actually,
it's all these old retired
What do you miss?
team
What, an
names
18?
and teams
Yeah, I mean,
that
your
don't exist
dunk rating
anymore.
says here your dunk rating's
Basically,
only 50.
Squawk wanted to honor them.
To pull up a stunt like that.
Well, that's Horsemanor. I won the bloody dunk contest.
By the way, shout out to Matt Hill.
Hey,
This is
Ronnie,
his first season
fix
with us
your
as a
bloody
writer.
1K server, Ravens.
I'll bet by the time that update gets here.
Check out
I've already
Spurs
been
Special
Squire of the
Forces.
May I just mention
great
that I'm the third
NBA
lead
cartoon.
scorer on the
Yeah,
second
that's the
best
reason we
house
knew we
in the
wanted to work with
despite
him. We made a
devastating
great
injuries to our
cartoon
finest
called
knights.
Spurs
I think
Special
that deserves
Forces.
some consideration.
Well, if either of your houses were in the West, you wouldn't even be considered for Squire of the Year.
Stop your squabbling, children. The term Squire of the Year award is over.
By the way, notice that Jason Kidd is
By
not
this
wearing
time
pants.
next
He's just
year,
in pajamas.
nobody
He doesn't even
will-
change out of his pajamas.
Still in his
Oh,
pajamas.
yeah? And who the hell are you?
Also, I like it. Malcolm Brogdon has an old man voice because he's a second year. Let's pause it.
Okay, let's pause it here. Let's answer a couple questions. Here, I got to scroll down here. Let's see. We explained the shields. What about? I'm not going to answer that because it would contain spoilers. So, go ahead, Craig, if you have one. I can't find a good
I don't
one.
have one. I'm reading some that are confusing to me.
Someone says David C. just wants to let everyone know that he thinks Bradley Beal's underappreciated, which I'm sure Evan Matthews likes because he's a Wizards fan. And then we have...
I think Evan is
someone
biasing
says-
the questions towards Wizard-related ones.
Yeah, someone asked, why does Walt Frazier speak in rhyme? And the reason is if you should check out, he's an announcer for the Knicks, and he's also a former player, if you don't know that. And he just says classic things, like he's in that commercial. He always rhymes things. That's the way he speaks, and that's one of his things he's known for. Like if there's a Just for Men commercial where he's like, the beard is weird, and he's talking about like Emmett Smith's beard or something like that. And then someone else asks, let me see, Joshua Conniff says, that's the old one about James Dolan. But someone asked why. I can't find the question, but someone's saying, why is Dolan playing lute? And the reason is because he actually plays in a band called JD and the Straight Shot, and you should check him out. Check him out on the internet if you want, if you dare. Scott, you want to do it on Craig?
I can't pronounce this because it's got numbers instead of letters. It's a Shogun. Yeah, Shogun, but with a 5 for an S and a 6 for a G. Do you guys get hate mail from the players? We actually don't get hate mail. So far, we've only heard good things from players, oddly enough. They don't really seem to get offended. They seem to really like the episodes. The only one, as we mentioned before, is TJ Warren might have subtweeted us because right after that Sun Kings episode came out, he had some like generic tweet that just happened to come out right after that was just like, you got to ignore the haters and all this stuff. And so it's in the back of our minds that it might have been related, but can't confirm. So we'll just assume that he enjoyed the episode. But why don't we show the last episode of this season?
Well, last one quick question I'll say. Scott Novak says, is Ronnie 1K based on anyone? Yes, he's based on Ronnie 2K, who is a 2K face of 2K guy. Anyway, let's do it. So this episode features our fastest scene we've ever made to be topical.
Yes.
And this is
the way we made this episode.
I'm a free agent now. Will you?
He did not go to the Lakers.
Why?
But
But where will you go?
Oh, also, Adam really wanted to get into a thing about grunions. Adam, do you want to explain what grunions are?
You're wearing a Lakers.
Yeah, there's little fish that swim up on the beach at a certain time of the month, and they like lay eggs or something in Los Angeles. And people sometimes in West Coast like to go and see the Grunions lay their eggs. It's very Hollywood. You only know it if you live in LA. So just saying.
I must be going.
If you don't know it, you don't know it.
Season's upon us.
This episode has 4 scenes in it, and we basically made them in order of most topical, so we could keep updating them as the playoffs played out. So we make this episode during the playoffs. It's the most stressful episode to make. So we were able to make this scene first because we knew that Toronto got out early in the tournament. Notice the orange slices on the table there? That is a reference to, that's a hint that it's LeBron, because he would eat orange slices in this playoffs, and there's a lot of footage of him eating orange slices.
To celebrate our #1 seed. And since when does old Drake give 2 feasts in a single fortnight?
Yeah, we love you, Drake.
Well, it's no good being Lord.
By the way, Corver Bird as the owl is one of the underrated moments in the show.
Yeah, that's a top 10 joke for me. Also, I love the mascot in the background.
They don't want to talk about us.
The horse does
That
horse
was
things
obviously
has an
before the
honored
Raptors
seat.
won.
They all just want to talk about
Yes.
the process.
This scene is based on Walder Frey. Actually, big spoiler, so if you haven't seen Game of Thrones again, I'm sorry, but I'm going to spoil it for you. Arya as Walder Frey, that's what this scene is based on.
This year,
and he has his wife, he has a lot of like young wives, Walder Frey, and that's, the horse is basically Drake's like equivalent
Look at
of
Norman
his
Powell
wife here.
clapping so hard back there.
No more of that southern
Yeah, he loves it.
Proper wine for proper nights, courtesy of your champagne puppy. Stand together. North over everything. North over everything.
It was just such a perfect mashup with the Raptors choking
Not wasting good
to
wine.
the scene where they all choked to death. It was just so. It was like the writers. George R. R. Martin just gifted us this scene to do for the Raptors.
6 games.
Also, notice how LeBron saves the horse here, because he wants the horse to send a message. But also, I think it's a little message that we're sending that LeBron has a heart and he's not willing to hurt the horse that does horse things.
Yeah, exactly.
Haven't you, little northern night?
So there he's clipping his fingernail. There's another thing he did famously on the sideline that series.
Killing pawns means nothing if you can't fell the king.
Am I dying?
No, we're just choking. You get used to it.
This was a sick burn, but boy, did they show us the next season, huh?
So LeBron rips off
See, the owl was Corver Bird.
Tell them King James still rules the East. Also, tell them I'm better than Michael Jordan.
Oh boy, this sets off in motion some things, but you'll have to find out Thursday at noon when episode 1 premieres of the new season.
Yeah, you gotta remember
This is okay. Just pause it here for 1 second, if you can. I just want to quickly mention something about the scene. So this scene was the whole burner thing happened with Brian Colangelo, and everyone in Philly was like, "You guys are Sixers fans. You have to do something for this." And Craig and I were like on the phone, like remember, like 1 a.m. that night. We're like, "We gotta think of something. We gotta do something." But the problem is, it's very hard to deal with what we call like an evolving hot story. It's like lava that hasn't settled yet, and it's very tricky to write something before you know how people are going to react, how the story is going to have fallout and stuff like that. And when his burner story came out, it was very unclear. It was a big mystery, and it was evolving. And it turned out it was his wife and this and that. But we knew we had to do something with it, so we threw this scene together. It's the same backgrounds that we used for the process scene. We already had his head built. We just beefed up his collar.
We used it for the next scene.
Yeah.
So that was the key to this was that we were able to reuse all these resources so we could make it really fast. Everything was designed. It was very strategically set up.
King then conquered Bostonia after
The main new design was the giant collars.
Still lower than faults.
What's this?
And all these ravens are saying actual tweets that his burner accounts said in real life.
Oh, thank you, Honest
This
Dave.
is such a specific story that, like, it's like, I barely remember.
You know, when my wife decided
So
to
I like the
raise
hoagie
burner
seeds that he
ravens,
feeds
I
them.
had my doubts.
Another Philly reference.
But I've
Yeah,
really
that's
grown
the-
to love you all.
Some of them hoagie seeds
Shout
for
out
you
Philly
little
gang.
Philly fans there. Yeah, you guys might know what a hoagie is. You're from Philadelphia.
Phila 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did someone mention me?
Those are the actual burner handles.
Lord Hinky is better and smarter than you, Eric Jr.
That's an
Eric
actual
Jr.?
tweet that the process.
What's this? The
Set out.
curious case of Brian Longcollars.
Normal collar.
Shut up, shut up. It's long.
Brian, are you in there? I'm busy. Maester Dietrich of the Ringer Guild has published
Kind of feel
a paper
bad about
accusing
this
you of
because,
using
like, he
burner
lost his
ravens.
job.
Is
And
this true?
here we are, just like rubbing it in right as he's being fired.
Also,
Like the worst. I feel
he
bad.
just chucks ravens into the fire, by the way.
Analytics wizard
Yeah.
did an analysis of the scrolls.
Analytics wizard? No.
So he blames Hinky,
I
but
love
it
that
actually
scene.
wasn't necessarily Hinky. All right, and
All right,
this is.
speaking of wrong
I really
predictions.
disagreed with Adam. I did not want to do this scene. Just put that out there.
That you, Lord?
I thought this was a great idea. It's still a cool scene. It's just that calling them the Spurs of the East was
Yeah, it's
work
yeah.
out.
I agree. I didn't like the
board
screwing
game.
with the lore.
I know,
Alright.
but it's such a cool, it's a cool
By the way.
scene.
I think maybe you're taking this
Yeah,
scary thing a
it's
bit
great,
too far.
great
no?
background artwork. There's a bulldog.
It's just a cool. the whole, it's tense. It's cool. Yeah, I think it's good.
What are
scene.
you doing here?
No, I think it's a great scene. I just don't like screwing with the lore.
Yeah, we screwed with the lore.
I don't like the soul box gets like very confusing.
Like this
The old
does, yeah. There is
from the
like, a lot of
very
stuff
first
in Soul Box.
episode. And this is like
that
loosely based
clipboard-
on how.
Yeah, that clipboard is tied to the soul box magic, and which we get into a little bit in later episodes. And that was the end of that season. So take a quick question, then we're going to jump into our bonus unaired scene that you're going to see. So
I'm excited to show that.
So I got to answer Anthony's question here, okay? Anthony's saying, please take this question, Adam. He says, will the Celtics mascot ever come back to life? And so here's what I'll say. In real life, he never died. He's still here. He's with us forever. And he's always, and in our world, he's always in our hearts, and he'll always be Bones. And whenever we're missing Lucky, we can go back and we can watch that episode, and we can remember that he died a hero, providing entertainment for old Brad Stevens. So will he
And
ever
if
come
you
back
want-
to life? I don't know. Anything's possible. It's all, this world is a simulation.
you can-
Anything's possible.
Adam believes the universe is a simulation. Just casually putting that out there.
We have our own Game of Zones.
Why is Washington called Washingfell? Because Washingfell, it's a portmanteau of Washington and Winterfell. We mashed them together, and they work nicely together, I think. And I like that city name in our universe. A few cities get some weird names like Bostonia, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, yeah. So, okay. So here, let's tee up this final thing where you're about to see. So what you're about to see, and Craig, you might have to explain what a thematic is after this, but I'll quickly give a quick explanation of what the backstory is here. If this was a scene that we had ready, had the Celtics that year when Kyrie got injured and they made that whole run, had the Celtics beaten the Cavs, and had they gone to the finals against the Warriors, or like the Warriors were playing the Rockets, and that was actually quite a precarious. That was that Game 7, 27 threes in a row thing. So there was a lot of risk here. I think that was that season. But had it been Warriors and Celtics in the finals, we would have done this scene in the final episode, and this is a parody of Braveheart. And this is, but we never took it to animation. It only got as far as thematic. So, actually, this is a chat animatic.
Yeah, this is we call this an animatic, although it's kind of in between. But it's a storyboard that is put to the audio that we had already made. So we make the audio first, and then we draw the artwork, and we do the editing in a storyboard phase, so that we don't have to edit, because in the way that live like television action and movies are. Wait, what are you?
Live action.
No, wait, hold on.
Anyway.
Oh, okay. Live action.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. So live action, they'll shoot a lot of footage and then they'll edit it afterwards. For us, we have to plan it out ahead of time. So anyway, that's what this is. And let's just roll the tape. Let's show them the
we're going to be quiet because we promised some guy in the beginning we're going to be quiet.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Brothers of House Celtics, it's been a hell of a run. But I'm afraid this is where it ends. After all, the wise men say our Midland house should be proud just to bend the knee to the great Golden Dynasty. But I ask you, my brothers, are these not the same wise men who declared us dead when Sir Haywood lost his foot or Kyrie his knee? Well, it seems the only dead men being buried today are the ones who stood in our way. Now I know some of you tremble at the sight of that golden army up on those hills, but I can assure you they are just as scared of us.
Teddy the Scary!
Men! Directly after the parade, there will be a pool party at Steph's castle. Do not fill up on hors d'oeuvres, for Aisha will be preparing her famous citrus shrimp salad with Dijon lace vinaigrette.
Can I get it on the side?
We will play all positions.
Right.
We will each mark all men.
Right.
We will switch, and when they adjust, we will switch again. They may have more talent, sure, but we've got the heart, we've got the smarts, and we've got the hunger! When I set off for battle, my wife looked me in the eyes and she told me to ask all of you one question. Do any of you have any dietary restrictions?
Yes, I am vegan!
We are the men who cut down the freak, who crushed the process, and then went and slayed the king! In the name of William Russell, Larry the Bird, and the Knight of Truth, let us restore the glory of Bostonia as the new kings of the East! They can take our lanes, but they can't take our positionless freedom!
That's it.
So that was that would have been that. Austin Fang asked which scene will this replace, and I guess it would have replaced definitely the pop scene at the end where they put the clipboard in Brad Stevens. It would have probably been different. We wouldn't have had that scene. So we wrote this before. So
this scene. We rarely can do a scene about the finals, but we were so confident that the Warriors were going to beat the Celtics that year if the Celtics had gone through. That we were just going to predict that and hope that it happened.
Yeah, but I love that scene. I think it's a great scene. Craig found that today, and I hadn't seen it in a long time, so it's good. But anyway, guys, it's that time. It's 9:27, and that's when we have to say goodbye. So I just want to say to everyone, thank you guys so much for giving us a little bit of your time and for being here with us fanlings. And we'll see you tomorrow for our last watch
see you tomorrow for the last watch party.
Dwight Howard is always waffling and complaining. is a coach killer.